Hey guys, my name is Carol Akiwumi and I'm a social entrepreneur. Why do I need a strategy? And one of the fastest ways to make your fundraising tasks easier is to develop a fundraising strategy. This is particularly important if you're new to fundraising or if you feel like you're constantly chasing last minute donations to pay your expenses. Now, a fundraising strategy is simply a document that covers what your organization plans to do over the next year or longer, how you raise the funds to cover these services as well. It doesn't have to be big or complicated. Having a clear fundraising strategy is essential for financial sustainability and to keep your organization on track. It should be aligned to your organization's mission and objectives and set out a long term approach that will help the whole team, no matter how big or small, deliver the most efficient and effective results. How to prepare a strategy. Number one, adopt a whole organization approach. Your strategy should be discussed, developed, and approved at board level and involve other teams and departments if you have them. Two, start with your charity's vision, mission, and objectives. What resources do you already have for fundraising? Think about the people, the equipment, and resources you could call upon as part of a fundraising audit. Next, set some SMART objectives. Identify your likely supporter groups and which fundraising activities you can use to reach them. Next, you need to work out how and when you're going to reach these audiences. And then after that, you want to start thinking about resources, training, and policies that you might need. Put in place the time to monitor and review how it's going and adapt the plans where needed. So, one of the best places to start is with your vision and mission as an organization and your objectives as a charity. Now, one of the initiatives that I founded 6 years ago is called Money for You. It's a nonprofit based in the UK, working worldwide, and our focus is literally to provide financial management, entrepreneurship, and capacity building to uh, organizations, nonprofits, entrepreneurs, and young people, mostly from disadvantaged communities. Next, we're going to talk about the fundraising audit. What an audit helps you to do is understand where you are now with your fundraising, where you want to be with it, and how you can get yourself there. There are a number of simple tools and techniques you can use to do this, such as a pest analysis. Now, a pest in some places is called pestle or steeple, even, and those letters stand for S for social, T for technology, E for economic. The second E could stand for the environment. P is for political, L for legal, and the last E is ethical. Now, you want to be looking outside. You want to be thinking about external factors that actually affect what you do. You might also want to do a competitor analysis, a market analysis, internal analysis, a collaboration analysis, and of course, a SWOT analysis. And SWOT will stand for your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, or threats. Don't be put off by the acronyms. Anyone can use these tools. And you can find out more information about all of these on the Chartered Institute of Fundraising website. SMART objectives and case study. Once you have done this, now you can start putting some targets in place. It's important that these are agreed between the fundraiser and senior management and or the board, and that they are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. For instance, Money for You will raise £250,000 in the next year, and we intend to do this with a fundraising budget of £20,000. And in order to do this, we have actually decided that we're going to diversify our income streams. And so £150,000 will come from trusts and foundations. We will raise the balance of £100,000 in equal measure between corporate foundations, digital fundraising, and individual donations, where at least three-quarters of that will come from regular donations. Strategies. With these objectives in place, it's then time to think about each of the individual income streams and the strategies you want to put in place behind each of them. This will mean looking at exactly which companies, communities, individuals, and trusts you want to target, what messaging you're going to develop, which projects and campaigns you're going to ask them to fund. Scheduling. Next, you want to set a schedule and budget against each of the income streams. This means you'll know when and where you'll be doing things and how much you have to spend on each activity. Next, we'll be looking at monitoring. You'll want to make sure that you have a system for monitoring the output of your fundraising, such as the number of trusts you're applying to, the success rate of those applications, or the number of individual donors responding to an appeal. You'll use this information to adapt and review your plan on a regular basis. Now, at Money for You, we literally target and we monitor and evaluate all of our efforts. So that means the whole life cycle. We kind of think about not just those that we're applying to, but how we're applying and who the best person to make those approaches might be. Whether it's to trusts and foundations, whether it's to major donors, whether it's to individuals, and whether it's about campaigns that we're running. We monitor all of the processes in order to work out where we're having the best return on our investment. We also want to see whether the methods that we're adopting are actually as effective as we think they are. And then, because our resources are limited, we want to see where we're getting the best outcomes. Having done all of that evaluation, we can then pull it back and use it to then inform the next stage of whatever fundraising or activities that we're carrying out. Costs and development. Now, the last piece of the puzzle is looking at your fundraising costs. Fundraising nearly always costs money, most commonly staff time, managing resources, or the cost of processing donations. It is important to be honest and help your supporters understand this. That you have invested in these activities in order to attract further donations. Now, while there's no set level for what is acceptable in terms of fundraising costs, you'll need to look at this carefully and be aware that very high fundraising costs may not reflect well on the charity and can be a cause for public concern. The key is to be open and transparent about what you spend on fundraising and to be prepared to justify those decisions. Training or development. You also want to be considering what training or additional support you might want to invest in to help you reach your targets. For example, you might want to attend a training course on writing successful trust applications or set up a system for sending out different types of communication to different types of donors. Now, these developments will have costs attached, although you can often get low cost or subsidized support with this. It's really important. Whether you're a nonprofit or a business, you need to spend money to make money. So don't think that no investment is necessary or required, because the more you can invest in your fundraising, the better your returns will be. Once you've worked your way through these steps, you'll have a practical blueprint for getting going and raising funds for your organization. As you can imagine, this plan is not something you can pull together in an afternoon, but persevere, and you and your colleagues, including trustees, will see the benefits of having a clear and realistic plan for how you fund your organization's work in the future. 10 questions to ask about your fundraising plans. 1. What are your fundraising goals? 2. What will these goals enable your charity to achieve? Who will you approach for funds? 4. What resources do you have available? 5. How will you go about it? 6. Do you know the rules and best practice for fundraising in these areas? 7. What policies do you have for potentially sensitive or tricky fundraising decisions? 8. Who will help you? 9. How will you keep your supporters engaged? 10. How will you review, learn from, and improve your fundraising efforts?